Okay, so this video is about how to write the equation of a hyperbola given certain constraints. What we're going to need to know about the hyperbola in order to do that is, or what values we'll need to know, would be a and b, and then h and k. So we need to know those, where the center is and what the distance to the vertices is, and what the distance is to those other 2 points, which again this book doesn't really call anything. So then, and also the orientation of, do the vertices go horizontally from the center, or do the vertices go vertically from the center? So kind of those 5 questions again, like we did, we had for the, here we see the x-intercepts being 5 and -5. So what that's kind of representing here is where the vertices are. Here we notice that the y-intercepts don't really match at all, kind of letting us know that the vertices aren't, they don't represent the vertices. So these y-intercepts must represent with the ellipses. So we'll start there. What's the direction I want, or this hyperbola is going to open? What's h? What's k? What's a? And what's b? So here they're telling us that the y-intercepts of the hyperbola are 5 and -5, and then we have the foci where they are also. So not telling me anything right off the bat. Maybe, so I'm going to go ahead and sketch this out, kind of see what we're looking at here. So 3, 4, 5, 6. So they're telling me the y-intercepts, so 5 and -5. So that means the graph must go through those 2 points. So if we look back at the axes of this particular graph, so I'm going to go ahead and label them with that V. So what that lets me know is, well, if that's where the vertices are, then the center must be halfway between them, so that'd be right there at 0, 0. Also lets me know that since those vertices are above and below the center, that the hyperbola must be vertically aligned, so it must look something kind of like this. Rough sketch here. So that's a vertical. Alright, and then we also now know what A is, since we know how far the vertex is from the center. That means A is 5. So last thing we know is what B is. We don't need to plot the foci here because that's our C value. We could if we wanted to, but it's not going to help us calculate B. So I'm just going to use that C value and our A value to find B. So C squared equals A squared plus B squared. So C squared being, so this is our C value, how far it is from the center to the focus. So 3 square roots of 3 squared equals 5 squared plus B squared. So we did something like this a while ago, how to go ahead and square this. So what that means is 3 square roots of 3 times 3 square roots of 3, which means I'm going to take the 3's and multiply them. That's going to give me a 9. I'm going to take the square roots of 3's and multiply those. That's going to give me a 3. So 3 squared 3 squared is equal to 27. That's equal to 25 plus B squared. So of course B squared must be 2. So that means B is the square root of 2. Alright, so now I know B. Square root of 2. So the vertical equation is the one that starts with y. So y minus k squared equals then over something minus x minus h squared over something equals 1. And this under a should always be first, b should always be second. So y minus k, which is 0, so y squared. And then a squared would be 25 minus x minus h, which is 0, so x squared. And then over b, so b is the square root of 2. Square root of 2 squared is 2. So 1 equals 1. So there is our equation. Not too bad. Let's try the next one. We just have 3 of these and we'll be done. Alright, so I'm just going to start, so it says the vertices are 0, 5, and negative 5, which is good. They tell me some about the vertices, so it's going to help me find my a value. It gives me a point that's passing through, so nothing about where h and k are, or some help finding a, but nothing direct yet, or b, so not a lot of information. So I'm going to go ahead and draw this again. So 0. So at 0, 5, and negative 5. So those are our vertices. So this is pretty similar to something we saw on the last one, but well, now we know what the center is because it's halfway between those two. So our h and our k are 0 and 0. We also know since the vertices are above and below the center, that must be a vertical hyperbola. And then they give us this point 310. So somewhere way up here we have our hyperbola going through that point. I guess we know a, since we know how far the vertices are from the center, so that's 5. So we don't know what b is. They didn't give us c like they did last time, so we can't just use the c squared equals a squared plus b squared equation. So that means we need to go back to the the normal equation, which would be the y minus k squared, since it's the vertical one. Y needs to be first, over a squared minus x minus h squared over b squared equals 1. Think about what we know. We know k is 0. We know h is 0. We know a is 5. We're looking for b. That's what we want to find there. So if we want to find out what b is, that means we need an x and y value. Well, that's what they've given us here with this point that it passes through. So we've seen this before, so we know that y is 10, x is 3. So watching the order that you plug those in there. So that means we know everything but b. So that means we can solve for b. So go ahead and plug those numbers in. So 10 minus 0, of course, is going to be 10, but it's going to be squared. And then a is 5, so 5 squared minus x was 3 minus 0 for h, which will be squared, over b squared, which again we don't know, equals 1. So 10 squared, of course, is 100, and then 25 for 5 squared. Minus 3 squared, which is 9, over b squared equals 1. So of course 10 squared, or 100 divided by 25 is 4. So 4 minus this equals 1. So I'm going to subtract 4 from both sides. Lots of different ways to solve this equation, but here's what I'm doing. So I get negative 9 over b squared equals negative 3. So what we end up doing is we're going to multiply by b squared to this side. And as we do that, we're going to have negative 3b squared. And so we're going to end up dividing by negative 3. So essentially those two things just switch place. So we get negative 9 over negative 3 equals b squared. So that means b squared is 3. So b is the square root of 3. And just like before, we're going to leave that in the radical. So square root of 3 for b. So now we know everything we need to know. We're going to use this equation up here. So I'm not going to rewrite it, so I'll just talk about it. So y minus k, which is 0, so just y, and then squared over a squared, which was 5, so 25, minus, and then x minus 0, so x squared, and then b, which is the square root of 3. Square root of 3 squared is 3, and that's always equal to 1. So there we go. There is the next one. So we just have one more. Right, this is the last one of these, and we'll be all done. Tomorrow we'll have like the more normal review where you guys will kind of work on your own, check with me the questions. If I hadn't got around to check your homework, I'll definitely be doing that tomorrow. And then since we don't have school Monday for MLK, that we'll have on Tuesday kind of a more direct review where I'll go through problems with you guys on the board and really try to clarify things that I've seen in the past students struggle with. To help you get ready for the test on block day. So, all right, so last problem here. So I want to talk about the direction. I want to talk about the H, K, A, and B. So what do we got here? So they tell us the center, which is awesome because that means we know H and K. So 9, -7. The focus and then the vertex. They're giving us placements for those things. They're not giving me distances, so I don't know A or B or direction yet. So really I'm going to draw this one out. So even though I know where the center is, don't give me other information that's real helpful. So looks like I need a lot of positive x space and all sorts of y values. So all right, so that center is at 9, -7. So somewhere over around here is where our center is. Then a focus and a vertex, so 9, 3. There's a focus, and then the vertex, 9, -1, so somewhere over there. Alright, so you should notice the focus and the vertex are all above the center. So that means this is going to be a vertical equation. Now we should be able to find A, since we can see the distance between these 2 points. So from -1 to -7 is 6. And they're not telling us B, but they're giving us C in a way. So we should be able to figure out how far it is from the focus to the center, and from 3 to -7, that's 10 units. So C is 10. So if we know that C squared is equal to A squared plus B squared, so 10 squared, 100, equals A squared, which is 36, plus B squared. So that means B squared is equal to 64 when we subtract 36. That means B is 8. Alright, so that means we know everything. We're going to be using the vertical equation, which starts off with y. So y minus k, so y plus 7 squared over something minus x minus 8, so x minus 9 squared over something. That's going to be 1. And then a should go into the first thing, so a is 6, so 6 squared, 36. B should go into the second thing, so B is 8, so 64 under the second equation, or second fraction. And there is our equation. So, hopefully you guys understood all this. I was hoping to be there after school today to help anybody, but definitely make sure I'm available tomorrow after school for anybody that needs, feel like you need help. And then, of course, Tuesday after school I'll be around, again, for anybody that needs help. I believe next Wednesday morning we have meetings, so I'll not be available during the late start period to be of any help. But if you're waiting for the day of the test to get help, then you're kind of causing your own trouble. So make sure get your homework done, and we'll see you guys tomorrow to start studying for this test. Be safe. Don't know if weather's gonna be any bad anymore, but drive safe out there.